Hello YouTube, welcome to the Trans Tech Perspective, a YouTube channel run by me, Derk. I run a few YouTube channels online, and you might have seen me around using the names Derk.tv or Techno Nerds. And this is now going to be my primary account that I use for games, software, and technology. I will still be active on some of my other accounts, so feel free to check them out for new content sometime soon. Today I'm creating this video because of recent things in the YouTube space that really did bring up really valid concerns of a lot of people in the community, which is YouTube accounts and Gmail accounts being taken over due to lackluster security. Even people like myself, who always pride myself in having really good security, do have slip-ups at times, and I actually had a few of my accounts not too long ago get compromised, and I've had to learn a lot more steps to help ensure that my accounts and anything that I do online does not get compromised. The main reason why I'm making this video is a YouTuber that I watch named Nathaniel Bandy had his accounts compromised. Like, he had all of his YouTube accounts pretty much wiped off the scene of the earth, and it was replaced by these cryptocurrency scams. And I was looking at that and I'm like, this is very similar to what's been happening in years past to a ton of YouTubers. They get their accounts wiped and they have all these scammy things posted on them. I think the whole idea behind taking over accounts like this or trying to get access to them is to put your scams in front of a wider audience, because the more people that possibly see your video, the more people that are likely to fall for it than a YouTube channel with like 2 subscribers. So what I mainly want to talk about in this video is preventative steps that anyone can take to ensure that their data and that their passwords and that their phone number is secure and not easily hackable to people online. Tip number 1, use a password manager like NordPass or LastPass. I've used both of them in the past. They are both very amazing and intuitive. They work on mobile and they work on desktop through browser extensions, and I believe they both even have native Windows and Mac apps. Those are very useful because you can have a really, really complex master password. Make sure you're not using it anywhere on the internet outside of this account, but it allows you to have a big database with one really secure password for any account you have online, and it allows you to generate a very secure password for every single one of them in a very easy to use user interface. This helps prevent the most common way that people get hacked, which is reused passwords. And the reason why people get hacked due to reusing a password is sometimes websites get hacked, and a lot of usernames and passwords get leaked. And if you use the same email and password in a lot of sites, it's more than likely that a lot of hackers are going to try those on a bunch of other sites to try to get into your accounts. Another thing you can do with these password managers, very easily by the way, is allow yourself to change your passwords around every single 6 months. This allows you to ensure that just in case if a database was breached, you can have a new password in place and not have to worry about it. On the paid options of LastPass and NordPass, they even have a data breach option that lets you know that if one of your passwords or usernames got leaked on the dark web, it allows you to be able to very easily ensure that you change your password right away. Also, I do wish to note right now, I am not sponsored by any of these people, but this is a really, really good tip for a lot of consumers out there. Another security solution is to ensure that you contact your phone carrier to ensure there are more security steps put in place to ensure that your phone number doesn't get spoofed or put onto another SIM card, so people can bypass the 2-factor authentication. Now, if you don't know what SIM spoofing is, it is a common practice where hackers will get enough information about the consumer and their phone number and get in contact with their phone carrier and transfer numbers to a new phone to get your 2-factor code. To prevent this, you can use an option like Authy or Google Authenticator, but those also are not always the best option as well. So to prevent this, make sure you contact your phone carrier, preferably as soon as you possibly can, and ensure you set up either a PIN system, a password system, or even a second-step verification system. A lot of them out there do offer it, and if they do not, I would recommend changing phone carriers to one that do offer this type of protection. Another way to help with security is to ensure that if you have a lot of accounts and you are starting to become a bigger business online, is have multiple phone numbers for multiple backup codes. This may seem confusing, but this might be very vital. That helps you prevent other accounts from being compromised off the same phone line. Now, I mentioned earlier about Authy and Google Authenticator. Those are alternative 2-factor apps that are actually very useful, but also can be very concerning. Authy especially, because you can have a password like a master password, such as what you would do in NordPass or LastPass, but the problem is if that password's compromised, then all of your 2-factor codes are available to the hackers. That's why it's always a good idea to make sure that if you do enable this type of 2-factor method, you properly secure it and you save any sort of backup codes you have for any account that you enable this for, so that if you lose access to Authy or your Google Authenticator app, you are very easily able to get back into the accounts and reset it up. Speaking of the last one, ensure you back up your backup codes, especially on sites where you spend money, because you do not want to lose out on tons of purchases in your Nintendo account just because you neglected to save the few codes it gave you after you were done setting up your 2-factor solution. Another security step Ensure that your recovery email, especially on Google, isn't the same email for multiple accounts. Ensure that if you are definitely running a business and you have multiple YouTube channels, that you have a ton of YouTube accounts available to you, preferably organized through LastPass or NordPass in a folder, so you know what's the backup and what's the primary. This helps ensure that if one of the accounts get compromised, all of them don't. Also ensure that you double check on any old email accounts that you have not checked in on in a while. Ensure that two-factor is enabled, or ensure you disable the accounts if they're no longer necessary for your daily life. Last but not least, do not give out too much information about your security online. Especially if you have a very particular way you like to do things, don't give out a step-by-step plan as an explanation. This video is not like that because it's a very general use case recommendation video. But especially if you are a business with really big security concerns, or if you are a YouTube channel that makes your primary source of income, ensure that anything that you do to protect your data, have it be hardware keys or whatever, that you do not disclose the information of where they're located, what they are, what model they are, and etc. This helps ensure that just in case if you have a break-in at the location where your stuff is stored, or that if there's somehow a flaw in the security system and a piece of malware picks up your private key, it'll ensure that you are not screwed over and you have another line of defense. My last recommendation, in the words of Philip DeFranco, don't be stupid, stupid. Practice safe stuff online. And if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask the online community. There's tons of new ways to improve your security every single day, and it's always good to check it up. If you set up a security solution around 2 years ago, it's not going to have the same effectiveness as newer solutions today. It's always best to look at your security, and it's always best to look at ways that you can improve it. Thank you all for watching the first video on the Trans Tech Perspective. I appreciate you all watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me down in the comments down below. Like this video and share it with your friends. If you need any help with anything or have any questions, feel free to reach me in the comments section down below or on my Twitter @TransTechTweets. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!